Hey guys, I finally got fish in the big tank. I want to tell you about doing that and what I'm doing with their old home and their progeny, as well as a brand new fish that I got for the face tank. It's all coming up right after this. Hey YouTube, this is Pecktec, and today I want to tell you about adding some fish to this tank. Now, of course, I did not film any of it. It was too frustrating and complicated a process. It actually isn't hard to catch big fish. It is hard to catch fish without destroying your current aquascape. I can't complain. Kerrigan did most of the work. She caught almost all of these fish, I believe, and she brought them down and set them up in this tank here. Now, part of the reason I haven't started the CO2 or anything like that is I wanted the water parameters to be very similar as I moved them over here. And I'm going to gradually bring up the CO2 content in the water to accommodate the plants. There's also a chance of sort of a mini cycle bringing these fish over. So what I did was I took about half the bacteria that was in their current tank. It was really time to change out some of the biomedia that was in there, so I took about half of it out, added some fresh stuff upstairs, and I took the rest and I put it in the top tray of the sump. That should allow all that good bacteria to kind of trickle down into the new stuff that's inside the sump and just seed the whole tank. It's been really interesting to see these fish down here. I have a lot more opportunity to kind of enjoy them than I did upstairs. I mean, upstairs to be in the bedroom, it's kind of a limited place. I mean, I don't hang out in the bedroom all the time. It was really nice on a Saturday or some day that's more relaxed to sit and just kind of look at them in the morning or in the evening. But now I get to see them all the time, and there are a lot of really interesting animals in here already. I've got that African bushfish that I've decided to name 50 Centipoma. He's been really cool. He spends a lot of time hiding. If you guys remember before, I was talking about some of the stuff that was growing on the wood. That's now completely gone. I believe the Siamese algae eater basically took care of all that stuff. He just went through and ate all that, whatever it was. I see that every time I add spider wood. I even saw it on the manzanita wood, which I didn't notice last time I used manzanita wood. But it's now completely gone. The water gets clearer every single day, and it's been really, really cool. It really does add another level of interest to go ahead and put some really interesting species inside the tank. I'm going to let the plants grow in just a little bit more, let these guys get really at home and acclimated before I add the last fish. He's kind of busting at the seams of that other tank, so I'm going to have to do it really soon. But I think he's going to fit in here just fine. Now, as far as the face tank, I'm really glad to report that all those problems I had with algae are gone. The tank is now completely clear of that weird bushy algae and stuff that was infecting the tank. The plants are starting to look really, really good with the CO2. I've also been adding a squirt once a week of Flourish, which just adds a couple of more nutrients to the tank. I've actually used this for years. I always keep it in my fridge down here, and with a little pump, it makes it real convenient to just kind of walk around and distribute it where it needs to go. But the most exciting thing is probably that I got a new fish. This is a koi betta. If you haven't heard of that before, it's called a koi betta just because of the pattern that's on the fish. It's very reminiscent of a koi fish. And it's been really neat to sit and watch him enjoy his home. It's a really, really beautiful little fish. Now all that's left to do is sit and impatiently wait for those plants to really grow and grow and grow. Now you may have noticed there's no light behind the eyes in the face tank like there was originally. That all still works, but the mechanism that I used to do it, I decided to change it up a little bit. And I've got an idea for how I want to do that, but I haven't allocated the time to figure it out. So that'll be for a future video. It still lights up if I put something back there, but for now, she sits dormant. Also, if you watch the setup for that tank, you'll know that I originally had like a really big Java moss plumes coming out the top, and I've since traded that for some of the leftovers that I had from this tank, simply because it was really shading all the other plants and stuff. It was just a little too much. It didn't die off or anything. I actually ended up putting it in the corner, probably right about here, of this tank to kind of block the sunlight coming from the window, because this tank definitely needed more plants, right? So now we're in the wait for the grow out period, where basically we put the plants that are in there, we just kind of see where it goes. Some of them will die off, some of them will do really well. I'm hoping in the next couple of weeks to go ahead and add Mr. Tubes to this tank, and then I'm going to just not stock anything else for a little while. I'm just going to wait, let everyone calm down, let everything work out, and kind of see how the dynamic works. there's always this period of time where a new fish in there kind of changes the whole dynamic. Now on the tank that I got all these fish from, upstairs is the 56 gallon. Now I've had that tank going for a long time, and basically all the fish that are in there are pre-YouTube, before I even started making videos. I got all these fish very early on in the hobby. All these fish, even the bushfish, 50 centipoma, and the rainbows, I bought them all when they were very, very young. They were real little. You'll see bushfishes all the time in PetSmart, and they're real tiny and they're real cute, but they're the kind of fish that's going to grow up and eat all those like medium to small size fish. They cannot be trusted with a lot of smaller fish. They have this huge mouth and they just suck them up. So as far as the rainbows go, they've been very amorous, and they've made a lot of children. So I've had a lot of fry lately from these guys, and I pulled out one batch and I put them in a 10 gallon. And then I looked in there a few weeks later and there was another batch, so I put it in the fluval spec. So after I pulled these guys out, I just waited like 3 or 4 days and I kept looking in there, and sure enough, more fry. The only thing left upstairs is the bristlenose catfish, which pretty much is gonna, the fry will be safe from him, I think. There might be a Raphael catfish, which would probably be markedly less safe, but I never see it. I literally never see this fish. I don't know if he's alive or dead. I thought he had been dead for years and that he just kind of suddenly appeared one day. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the big tank upstairs as sort of a grow out tank for their babies, and just kind of see what happens. I'll be gradually breaking down all those tanks that are in there, the 5 gallon and the 10 gallon, and taking those babies and putting them all in the 56 gallon to grow up together, as soon as they get big enough where they can't eat each other. Now, just to follow up on last week's video, I've left the surface skimmer running in here, and the water's been just crystal clear at the top. I'm about to take it down and kind of see if the aquarium really needs it or not, because if it doesn't need it, there's plenty of other tanks that could really use a little help. Also, since then, I've found an even cheaper one that might work to hide in the back of a tank, of another tank, so we might take a look at that. I really, really love the way the Kessel lights work on the controller. It's given me a really longer time of day to watch this stuff. Right now it's in the morning mode, and the current USA is still kind of in its nighttime mode, so it kind of casts this blue haze in the shadowy area up here. This background moving around the weirs and stuff kind of makes it stick out a little bit on the two sides. And so it kind of makes a darker, shadowy area at the top. So when the current USA light is on, it really fills in that shadow area, but when it's off and the blue lights are on, it really makes it this neat kind of blue color and just kind of adds a dimension to the tank. It's really cool. Now the Kessels don't get super, super dim. They get to maybe 25%, it's like about 25% and then off. So it's not quite as gentle on that last part, you know. It's kind of like really, really dim and then off. But I noticed the tank looks really, really neat and dramatic when it's really, really dim like that. And it's cool because I can have the photo period be really super bright during the day when I'm not here. And to me, it's nice, but it's kind of bright, especially in the evening sitting here. So the plants will love that, and they'll have their period of time to grow. But then as it gets dimmer and dimmer and dimmer, it's really, really neat and dramatic to look at in the evening when I'm sitting here in the living room watching TV or having dinner or whatever. So I gotta say, overall, I'm really, really happy with the controller too. Now, moving fish from one tank to another shouldn't be a big deal in your home. In theory, you can control both environments to a certain degree. What I did to help these guys is I got the temperature very, very close to the temperature up there. I checked the water and the different parameters of the water. They're very, very similar to one another. It should be a lot easier transition than it would be if I bought them at a store and then I brought them home. And with that in mind, more than likely this year there'll be a lot of kind of this shuffle of fish. I don't move my fish around a lot. This is the only time that they've moved since I set that tank up. I'll throw a link up too if you want to see the setup for the tank that they're in now. It looks so different than it did when it started. In fact, I love to look at the old videos, the old setup videos, and see like the transition. And I can't wait to see where this goes compared to what it looks like at this point. It looks really neat at this point, but all the plants are really young and low and stuff like that. I have a feeling if they really start to grow, it's going to be an amazing transformation, hopefully. Hey, and don't forget, Pecktec viewers can get 12% off North Fin fish food with the code Pecktec12. Check them out, it's really good food. And that's all I got for you this week. I'll be back next week with another video. Until next time, follow your bliss, keep a clean tank, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. up if you want to see where that lived in. So more than likely, and it's been really neat to watch. Said what? I haven't. Well, some of them. I got all of these fish